Oh. Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay, am I sharing this still? I'm not. Okay. Hello. Welcome to our Luxor Hub. I can hear myself, by the way. Is this in your computer? Yeah. Yeah. I can hear myself somewhere. That's a bit distracting.
I think it's here.
Yeah, then let's put this down. Okay. No, it's your computer. I don't know. Hello, hello. Where's this coming from?
It's here.
But it's totally muted.
Yeah, no.
It's all the way down.
Maybe you connect it to Bluetooth headset.
It keeps going back up actually.
Okay. Then I hear myself. Cool. Nice that you're here on the staircase. I mean, I have the frontal view to the staircase. Looks like this here. Actually, if you want to see yourself, so. And all right, okay. All eyes on me. So yeah, so we just recently launched a tool to be able to create Web3 blockchain tokens in a very generic way. And I wanted to present this and also give everybody the chance to claim a first proof of attendance of Luxor, of this like, you know, meetup here as a good test case. But how many people have heard about universal profiles, Luxor? I want to give a little. Okay, yeah, okay, you all heard about it. Okay, but have you understood it? No. I will do a very quick introduction, so that at least you know it looks even more technical than it actually looks like under the hood. So we have this thing called Luxor Standard Proposals, which is new smart contract standards. We call them the new standards. And standards on the programmable blockchain like Ethereum is like, that's the kind of big deal. Like, why did Ethereum, like, you know, become the big blockchain, you know, compared to any other thing that was out there at the time and still is? It's because of the standards. And obviously one standard we all know is the token standard ERC20 that created literally the whole ecosystem, right? A single agreement on how does a token looks like on a blockchain turned out to become pretty much forms everything, right? We have DeFi, we have NFTs. Everything came just out of a single standard. So what would happen if we would make that better? If we would improve like on the learnings of the last 10 years, plus add now that missing piece called identity to the mix. And that's kind of like the thing that was missing, right, in Ethereum. And that's, in my opinion, also the reason why a lot of the social stuff has not yet really happened in crypto in general because of the missing identity. Actually, let me here hide this little sa. And yeah, without an actually on-chain account, without people having on-chain wallets, if you will, that they understand, that they care about, that makes them recognizable, we can't really create community, right? And as we have seen, you know, if you have a lot of EOA wallets doing transactions on the blockchain, then that's pretty cool when you look at the token holder chart and you see how much owns how much. But the moment you want to make it a community, a DAO, or anything that has any kind of social value, it's kind of difficult. Because in that token holder chart, you might have like 10 people that have an ENS name, and even those swap once in a while to another address, so it's not really persistent. And the rest is just anonymous people, right? You don't know who it is. And then if you long enough in Twitter, you maybe realize, oh, this guy is that address and this guy. But it's a complicated mapping that takes a little while to get. So we needed to really solve the whole thing. Like fundamentally, what Ethereum is, like, how do we make sure that we have the right foundations, better foundations to actually create a real Web3? So over the course of the last pretty much 6-7 years, we came up with a lot of standards. A lot of those standards actually came out of ERC725. I don't want to go too deep into all of those, but in a nutshell, if you create standards in the right way, you can compose them, they can form larger things, and you can reuse them, and they're kind of like building blocks that you can plug together to make other stuff. And in this case, we have the luck of, had the learning from the last 10 years of programmable blockchain interactions, which we at the time with Ethereum, when I proposed ERC20 and when the early things happened, we had no experience, because obviously nothing happened yet, really much. So now that's very different. So now we can actually create an on-chain account that can be a crypto native account and could be actually an account of like a future internet. And could be also a Web2 account, and could also be an account that holds private information and private transactions down the road. So it's like a foundation on which a lot of things can be built on. What makes it different? Because honestly, that looks like a normal web account of the internet today. Yeah, create a server with an email login. You have something that looks like this too. If you take ENS, glue it to a wallet, you can also make something that looks like this. So why is it different? The difference is everything is standardized, and it's what we call in Ethereum account abstraction. Account abstraction means it's abstracted away from that private key, right? That usually represents a wallet today in crypto. So you have your core account, which is this blue box. That's a smart contract. That's pretty much your long-lasting on-chain acting account that can be then controlled by many different devices or keys or addresses, other smart contract systems, whatever you want to put on it. And that is regulated through a gatekeeper called the key manager, which is this green box. And that can be changed over time. The only thing that can't be changed is this blue box, because that's actually your forever address. And there's one thing that's really special here. I mean, key manager means you have the ability to have different kind of permissions that you can give per controller. This is obviously the technical terms, but in a nutshell, you could say, okay, one guy in the team can update the profile picture and maybe update the grid with its applications for the profile, and another guy can talk to this one vault that has a treasury in it, or maybe can just send like Lux around that's owned by the profile, while another person could maybe just interact with this one token contract and then, I don't know, transfer some tokens around, or maybe just call the mint function. So all of this is already technically possible with these standards. These standards had to be built in such a way that they will enable anything for the next 10 years, and we can't change it. Hence why it took so long to do it right? Because if you can't change things, it better be right? So we put a lot of thinking into making it as generic as possible. The key manager in this case actually can be changed. So that can be improved. And even now, this already allows so much. But yeah, in a nutshell, you could now create a DAO if you want that has a small team with all having their own special access to the main account, always acting as the main account. So on-chain, for people, it's just the main account doing things, but it's different people doing it. And then you could have like a whole voting system in front if you want to do some kind of like major things like treasury movements of large amounts and what God knows what. So yeah, that can be built now. And we not only had to build the standards, we also had to build the interfaces, as you see on the left. Yeah, gasless transactions, obviously, that's kind of like a key, right? So if people have to deal with creating an account, or like even in the first place, getting the gas token to even create an account, that will be a problem. But if you basically create an account, and the first thing you have to do is get some kind of like native gas token to even do anything, that obviously hasn't worked. We tried it 10 plus years, didn't work. So it needs to be abstracted away, and this standard allows anyone to basically do that. Anybody can pay for your transactions. In this case, we have a transaction relay service that does that for you. Notifications, that's actually a very big deal. If we have an on-chain account, we need to have the ability that that account can react automatically. Funny enough, something that people don't really think about in Ethereum because it is not even possible. Number one, normal wallets cannot react. And number two, if you have a smart account, no token will ever inform your smart account, so it doesn't matter anyway. So one thing that we did from the ground up is come up with a standard that allows this mess of many kind of different calls to be unified in something called a universal receiver function, which I think I have a picture here. Yeah. And that means there's now a universal way to inform a profile, or in fact, any smart contract to react automatically. And because on Luxo, everybody uses the new token standards called LSP7 for ERC20 and LSP8 for ERC725, means every asset on Luxo will always inform the recipient. And you can delegate that call that comes to your profile to an external contract. Maybe I'm getting way too technical. Long story short, there's notification hooks built into everything, which basically allows us to create now systems that have automation in place. So how does it look like in the real world? Somebody could follow you and you could automatically send him a token back. You just program this once. Every time somebody follows you, he gets the token back. Or somebody sends you a certain token, and based on that token, you give him an NFT. Or somebody makes a protocol where that protocol does something, and you do something back automatically. Like you can build systems now like this. Something that is just not even thinkable on current, ERC standards, because like we couldn't think that far ahead, if everything is so fragmented. But now we can. One of the biggest deals is that you can store information directly in the smart contract. That allows us to reference profile images, the grid that you will see in a bit, and all of this data directly from your smart account, like the one address that shouldn't change, of your account. Long story short, it can on the end look like a profile picture, and you see a little bit the grid below. Because it's a universal account, it can literally be everywhere, right? So imagine you have an account and you have one account, and if there's different websites that can read that account, you don't have 3 accounts, you have 1 account. No matter if you have 10 websites or 20 websites or 500 websites, which kind of makes this pretty convenient given that the current internet is exactly the opposite. And everything in this case is standardized, and the platform that you will see in a second, Universal Everything, is basically in a way a universal interface for those new standards. It's like just a way to show how you can compose those standards together into a UI, which in a way, in a nutshell, creates a decentralized operating system. And we have created the Luxo community profile. And this is pretty much universal everything today. There is 34,300 profiles. Each profile is this standardized thing. Each token and an NFT on Luxo is all these new standards. So basically on Luxo, you get Ethereum, but you get to play with only new standards that all have a lot more features and can do a lot more things. While at the same time, you have a better user experience. So that even Morena can create her Lara Croft NFT that you just also sent to literally everybody in the office, right? Yeah, you're.
Well, I'm a fan.
And look, this is everybody. I got it. Cat. Yeah, a very selective group of people got this. Only 14. Okay. Yeah. So, and I think like one of the. So what's the whole thing with like tokens, right? Like currently, when we're thinking about tokens in Ethereum, then it's all about like something that needs to be somehow valuable, and ideally you make it like restricted in supply, then you get some kind of crazy people behind it, and then hopefully the price goes up, right? And ideally it's tradable, so there's some kind of like, way to make money. This is, in a way, the sad story of the tokenization's, final ending. We ended in this weird place where it literally became a pure pump and dump, like literally, like with nothing else. No sugarcoating even. Just like straight up, make a token to go up in value for the reason to go up in value. It's just kind of weird. But the thing is, tokens can be just so much more, right? And the word token is already a bit of a weird name because it kind of means, what does it even mean? If you talk to a web developer, a token is for him a JWT, authentication token he uses with a server. If you talk to somebody who's into gambling, for him this is the chip that he converts to cash later. I don't know what a token is. In crypto, a token means clearly a meme coin or some kind of like a buyable and tradable asset. There's probably a bunch of other meanings for tokens. It's probably a complete bad term, but that's at least summarizes a lot of possibilities. And kind of the future that we are seeing, right, by creating like an Ethereum that has like identity by default and have this whole like kind of social layer, is the idea that, okay, let's use tokenization culture, in communities. Let's be the glue and the connective tissue between people and groups, which then can allow like network states, like the idea of having self-sovereign communities that live across the globe, that somehow are bound together by a common economics or maybe just a common cause, meaning purpose or understanding. Or could it be something that is actually used for marketing? In fact, like, the marketing that is today is basically you get shouted at, with some kind of information. But what people actually want to do is they want to feel they're part of something. They can co-create, right? They can also have a voice in something. Tokens in form of like a way to engage, be it your fashion crowd or be it, people that are following a brand or whatever. Tokenization could be really a whole new way of how you do that. Musicians, what connections do you have to your fans? I mean, you have the connection when you're on stage and you see them in front of you. That's like a micro subset of your 50,000 people that you see, because exactly how much fit in the room. And then on Twitter, you maybe recognize this one or other guy that is commenting all the time. And that's kind of where it ends, right? That's the maximum that you get to see from your fans. If you would make a fan token, maybe you give it away as a donation, like when they give you a donation, like Patreon, right? You could give them a fan token, or when they buy merch, or when they go to a concert, they can just collect it. And then over time, when there's all of these points where they could collect it and earn it, over time you would know, okay, who is really into me, who either gave me a bunch of money in donation, which will sustain my life as a musician, or whoever came really often to my concerts. And maybe this is the future ways to get that through listening music as well. Then you would really know who cares the most, right? And those people can now have a different relationship to you, and you can have a different relationship to them. I mean, you could make them vote on your next album cover. You could say, go backstage, or you get like lifetime for free into my concerts. You could do all of these cool things. And a token is one way to do that, because the token and the number of it really kind of makes this shows the difference here. And then the cool thing is you can airdrop things. So once you have created a token, you can say, okay, I now want to airdrop everybody who is following me. In this case, let me reset this. I could just say, okay, everybody who is following me, in this case I have 700 followers, that I could airdrop 700 people something. I could airdrop them whatever, blah, 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 pick an asset, pink moon cheesecake. I can give 100 to each. Now I'm could finally rid of my pink cheese mooncake collection that somebody sent me. I mean, like with tokens, there's these different ways of how you can distribute them, right? And how you can make them go away. Make them go away. Make them give them to people. If they have meaning, it's a good thing. If they don't, then they're not. So, and what I wanted to do is and what I would like to see actually. So now that we built this, and we actually really working on a lot of other things to make this like real world tokenization. And I'm not talking about the real estate, and I'm not talking about whatever, you know, it's the next, the current hype on whatever that means, real world assets. I mean, let's use tokens in the real world. Like for example, now you can all create a profile. Will take you, right now you need to remember, you need to at least create a password. It's not the end of the world. If you don't remember it, it will be removed anyway very soon and will be replaced by only your Face ID. And then you could collect a proof of attendance, right? And then maybe in the future it has another meaning, or maybe because you have that, you get something else. And what I would like to see is like really make these real world things happen, because this is on the end only when we start to interact with this Web3 stuff in real life for fun, not for money, not for earning, not for getting rich on it. That will come or will not come, whatever, you know, meanings can change of anything, but like we need to play. I think that's the point. And so far in crypto, it was always, oh my God, I need to set up my wallet highly secure because, you know, this is my safety for the next 100 years. And then you never got to use it. And that's why I've been on hundreds of crypto conferences and crypto was not a thing there. I mean, actually, you know, for real, like people don't use it, don't do anything with it. The most usage that I ever saw in a crypto conference was when we had a burner wallet at ETH Denver. And we all got like, I guess, 10 DAI to pay for the food. And then we actually used it to pay for a meal. And that was it. And it was fun, it was easy and fun. So let's see if it can be that easy and fun as well. So if you want, and you have a phone, which you all have, you can install the Universal Profile app. It's just called Universal Profiles. And create a profile. You won't need to enter an email address. You just need to come up with a password. And let's see how complicated this is. So that very soon we will remove the password, and then it's basically will just be protected by your phone's authentication to make it even more seamless.
I have a question. Can you transfer to another account the proof of attendance token?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so right now the tokens that you can create, like up just basic tokens that you can transfer and mint. But down the road, I will get into that a little bit on the different ways.
Is the APK file available on the website or GitHub?
For
It is not via the store, but let's say you use Grapheneos.
it is on the store. Are you Android?
If you want to bypass any store.
It's not currently.
Okay. Because from the development, like I don't know, with the Google Play Store, that they want to have force developers to KYC any developer. There's this movement like Signal you can install via APK.
Okay. Yeah, I mean we could totally make that possible too.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's all a matter of like having the time. But yeah, potentially we could put that on a GitHub release. But currently the repo is private.
Do you want to repeat the question?
So the question was, can we make the APK file available for Android to install Universal Profiles app on your Android phone without using the Google Play Store? So that's a very Android specific thing because Android is more open here. On iOS, you would need to make a test flight account.
I have a question for everyone. Does everyone here use Face ID, or does anyone specifically not like to use that? So like a password would be preferred.
None of my Android. I mean, that's an identical twin brother. That's why I don't use it. Yeah, for real.
That's hard. Yes, an identical twin brother. Yeah.
It's like fingerprint as well.
I mean, if you don't use that, then you have a PIN, I guess, right? I mean, you protect your phone somewhere, somehow. So who has managed to create a profile, or were you all stuck on the password, thinking about like a password with 4 characters and symbols? I mean, hence why I want to remove it. It's an unnecessary friction, because that could literally take 20 seconds to create a profile. 30 maybe.
For the future, if you want to not use passwords but Face ID, how do you make it AI proof?
No, it's PIN. I mean, it's your phone's authentication. So if your phone can be accessed, then I guess you have other problems too. I mean, definitely also, if you store millions of dollars on your universal profile, you might be in trouble. But the same, like everything can be then obviously reset, right? If they have access to your email. The idea also about a universal profile is, if you want to really store a lot of money, I mean, you better probably use a ledger, right? I mean, the universal profile is not supposed to be your Fort Knox money storage. I mean, I guess it will work for that. We audited it. I have high trust that it's super secure, but I mean, on the end, it also requires the apps to be secure on many different layers. So better stored on a ledger if you really care. But okay, yeah. Did anybody manage to create a profile? we can actually see this here in the network activity. We can see who created a profile. It's still very technical. We have exactly 1 person who created a profile. 2.
Yeah, it's fine. I saw that also it passes. It's just yeah.
So I mean, if you don't have a profile, you don't get a very valuable, probably trading for thousands of dollars down the road proof of attendance. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, in 2 years, you know, if this thing takes off, that's the proof of you being there at the early days, right? And the moment you sell it, you're actually a dork, because technically that makes no sense. It's a proof of attendance, right? So to explain a little bit, what is the token creator, or what does it enable? Luxo has a lot of more features with tokens than what a normal ERC20 or LSP, like ERC725 has. In our case, the metadata of a token can actually be updated even after creation by the token maintainer. Like, you can't change the name and the symbol, because that would be a bit of a not cool thing to do if you change your name and symbol. But any metadata you can update, and it can be updated by whoever deployed the token, because that's the party you anyway trust. That person can remove itself, so it can at some point lock the thing if it really wants to be locking it down. There's also some additional information that we put into the token, and this is what we call a category. Because when you're currently looking at on the blockchain itself, there's actually only 2 types of tokens. There's an ERC20, which is a number-based token. That means I can have an amount. I can have 1 or 2 or 10 or 10.5 or 1.735, 8, 9, 10, whatever, 18 decimals, long number, right? Or I can have an NFT, which, you know, with ERC725 means I have the number 10, or I have the number 23. I have some kind of identifier. I have a unique identifier of 1. I can have 1 unique identifier. So what we did is we actually have these standards, right? They're called for us LSP7 and LSP8, Luxo Standard Proposal 7 for ERC20 and Luxo Standard Proposal 8 for the other one. And we have one subcategory under LSP7, it's called an NDT. And an NDT basically just means that it's a non-divisible token. That means there's no decimals. The decimals are 0. That means the lowest unit you can have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but you can't have 1.5 or 1.3 or 1.37567. So if you want to create a batch, for example, or a roll, or you want to make a digital sword, it actually doesn't make sense that this is an actual NFT, because each sword doesn't need to have a unique ID. If it's a digital sword, they're all the same anyway, right? The sword with this kind of type of skill, and I can have either 1 or 10 of these swords, but I don't need to have a sword with ID so and so and so and so. If you get a badge or role, right? Let's say you get a good community person badge, right? You can just give him an entity, right? He has then 1 badge, maybe he has 2 of the same badges, and someone else has 1 badge. You just need that number. Okay, you have 1 or 2 or 10. You don't really need to have a unique ID per badge. That number 1 makes it cheaper on the blockchain to transfer. It makes it also easier to mint in big quantities and to airdrop. And it's actually better for most things. The only thing that really need an NFT is when you have something very unique. Like you want to make a garment with a unique ID, right? Where you know that this thing wears off differently than the other exact same shirt. And then when you think about it, this is all very technical and normal users don't really understand it anyway. And when you want people to create tokens and they need to understand what that means, this technical token, then we don't get anywhere. And that's where we are in Ethereum today. So what we came up with is this thing called the category. And the category basically says, okay, this is the category of the token. And then when you select that, like when you select, for example, a fan token or a badge or proof of attendance, it will auto-select whatever would be the best smart contract type. You can still modify it, but technically, for example, if you make a collectible, right, then it would be an LSP8 collection, or or if you want to say it's a meme coin, then it's probably just an LSP7. But if you want to make what we want to do now, a proof of attendance, an entity makes a lot of sense. And non-divisible tokens, you can get 1 each. And then you could always build a lot of like cool things around tokens. You could, for example, say a token is non-transferable, like AKA soul-bound. And in Ethereum, there was a lot of like discussions around, hey, soul-bound token is the future, and la 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 la. Vitalik wrote that blog post, I think 2 years ago. And then everybody got really hyped about it. And they're not here anywhere. And the reason why they're not here is because on Ethereum, when everybody has a wallet, it's really hard to do. Because wallets kind of get lost. Wallets are not very memorable, right? Like you might want to change it, even if you don't lose it, you might want to change it because it's a private key sitting in one of your devices. Maybe you deem it unsecure or whatever the reason is. So you want to, you can't really like send a token there, freeze it on that address without having some kind of mechanic that somehow it can be moved with some kind of process. With universal profiles, it's a little different. Because with universal profiles, you can, hey, nice. With universal profiles, we have now an account system that can be long-lasting used. So you can basically have a profile because of the different recovery options, because of the different ways you can control the same profile. We have now the ability to really have an account that we could have like for the next 10 plus years without that we need to fear that we are losing it. And without that, it's just bound to one device and one private key. The private keys are replaceable. I mean, to give it a little bit of a picture here, for example, if you look at my personal profile or public profile, this one here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different addresses controlling a profile. So my ledger is a recovery key. The UP receiver is this receiver external contract. My iPhone has its own key with its own permission. This browser extension has its own key. There's some keys I need to remove. There's a recovery system that has access. Universal Page has access right now. So this can be done now with this new standards. You can literally, the keys actually become less important, right? And that is the foundation for any kind of like future thing. You need control, like delegation, and you need access control, stuff we don't have in Web3 right now. Now we have it. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to create a token and I will show you what we can do with it. So I will create a proof of attendance. And Kat, now I need your input, your wise input into what we call this. So the event, let me see, the event is called Building for Culture. So we call this the Building for Culture. Building for Culture proof of attendance. Would that be a smart way to call it? I don't know. And we could all call it the UE. No. What do we? How we call it? Meetup. This is probably meetup number. This could be meetup number 3. I don't know. We could call it. Murd-up. Now it would turn Turkish.
And it can be more than 3 characters.
It can. There can be any. We can also just call it BFC. But I think meetup number, is it number 3? I don't know. No, it's 4, 5. Okay, I don't know the number, so we call it B. The only thing we can't change is literally this, by the way. So we kind of like, that looks really strange.
Maybe something with Laxo, proof of attendance. And now
Yeah.
This is the first one, you know?
Actually, it would be so great if we would know the number of the meetup. I think it's number 4 or 5. Is it? Number 5.
Off the top of my head.
Anyway, meetup number 5. I have this meetup number 5. Sounds great. Sounds great. So we pick this one. We make it a proof of attendance. And how many have created now their universal profile here? How many have 4, 5, 6, 7? I want 1. 8, 9, 10. You have a profile? 11? Okay, we can mint 11. We can always mint more. Don't you worry if you're like. Do you guys? Nico, you have a profile too, right? Don't you?
And what about everyone online?
Ah, no, they don't count. I'm sorry, physical presence only. Now we can think about it.
We can always send more.
42. Now, we can always do more. Let's do 15 for now. So, fingers crossed that everything works, but it's already released, so it should work. So at first we are deploying our token contract. In this case, you wonder why this is so little, because actually this uses a proxy contract and points to an external contract just to make it cheaper. Hey, Marcos. So we're deploying now the token contract. With 12 seconds block time, it will take 12 seconds. If we're lucky. And the browser extension doesn't have a bug. I know, we're good. So now we're initializing. So we're actually literally giving it now the name. And the thing we can never change, the address, that is actually our address, who will receive the initial amount. The one, what's that actually meaning?
And it's before type.
Okay. And the Boolean is means that's non-divisible, right? Cool. So we're calling a smart contract, our smart contract. So now we basically literally are the initialize that thing, and we are now officially have created the on timestamp blockchain token. And then we need to mint the token, like that's the 12 or 15. Then we're adding the metadata. So the thing is, all of this could be actually be packed into one single transaction, because the super future proof standard has the ability to batch transactions. But let's mint our 15. But right now, that would create a little bit of a bad user experience, because they would have to confirm a transaction that looks super gibberish and full on long, and then nobody would know what they're doing. So hence why we chose to do it this way, even though it is slower, but at least you know what you're doing. And then once we have built the multi-step UI for confirming multiple steps in one go, then it will be a lot easier. So now we're adding our metadata that we can edit in a second. Linking token to the user's profile. And that's it. So, and in the background, you also see that the thing is happening. Okay. Why does it take so long always after the transaction is?
Because it check on also on the indexer if the metadata are there.
We shouldn't check on the indexer. The indexer always is.
Because when you route then on the page,
Mm.
if you are with the indexer mode, you get the data from the indexer. So you have to double check that they are there.
Mm. Yeah, I would rather trust the smart contracts. Okay. In any case, we're now linking this profile to, we just added this literally to our own profile that we are the authentic creator. So one of the big things that also these things do, by the way, here you see, it's not added as a creator.
If you add now, you as a creator, it's already verified.
Ah, yeah. This other step we need to ask the.
Yeah.
Now we need to actually ask the user. But I mean, long story short, so yes, we should definitely add ourselves as a creator because that's us. We should also suggest ourselves immediately. Like there should be a button. Yes, now I need to look for myself. Luxo community. So we want to add ourselves here. Okay, the text. A memorandum for the first token creator meetup.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to the future, 9th of October, 2025. Ha. So we can always edit this. This is the good thing. What is even a memorandum? It's not even correct. A memorandum. Is that correct? Native speaker. How you call it? Is it commemorandum?
I think it's like
a something. A memorandum.
Memorabilia.
Memorabilia. And what is it? I mean, what's
Memorandum is correct.
memorandum? Memorandum of understanding. It's an MOU for this meetup. A memorandum for the first token creator meetup in the Luxo hub. So here, we could actually link to the Luma page, which is somewhere. Look, we want to create culture tokens, and what people do is meme coins. So I think this is it's just linked here, right? There. No, that's the. There, no, there.
going down. There you go.
Da. Will this be on forever or not? We don't know. Well, okay, anyway, we will do Luma event. So, token assets, yeah, we definitely want to upload this picture that we have here. And we could actually also upload a selfie. Are you down to being in the picture? Are you good? So you memoranded? Okay, 1 second. Oh yeah, you want to take it? Here, you also want to be in the picture of the memorandum token. Okay, memorandum token confirmed. Okay. Well, this is totally. Some people are cut out here. Okay, try again. Come on, Mr. Professional. You want to be also in the picture? This is your chance. No, it doesn't have the white. This is the other one. You need to go maybe just go maybe in the door or whatever. Go 1 dimension deeper.
That's crazy. It's exactly the limit. Beautiful.
Perfect. So this is now we are creating culture here. This is not for sale. It's for culture. Okay. So now this is a perfect. So how do we get this now easily to my computer? Yeah. So hike format. Will it make trouble uploading? I don't know. All right. So we will add this memorandum picture. 404. Yeah, because it's a no. Because I need to change this to most compatible format. Yeah, hike is not supported. I mean, it is a problematic format. Not gonna lie. So whoever wants to see themselves, this is how it looks like. You are nicely in here. So yeah, this is okay. What else we need to add here? I mean, we could add here as a co-creator also. We could add Luxo, but it will show up then as my creation as well. I'm not sure I want that right now. Let's leave it at this. But the power is you can actually have multiple creators creating the same asset while it's actually on-chain linked. So again, universal everything is like just an interface for standards. This is actually all like really a blockchain standards, and we just make it visible. So the text is this: attributes. Do we need an attribute? Status happy. Learn something. We can add this anyway later. So we just go like this. So what we're actually working on is are you uploading this right now? I guess. What we're working on is a tool to make these tokens easily claimable. So we could then have an iPad, and all you need to do is just go there, scan your profile, and you get the token automatically. And we're also working on a check-in app that next time we can only let the OGs in after at some point they're accumulated. Then only certain token would ever get you in. And the check-in app is as you just scan somebody's QR code, it's either green or it's not green. And like that basically allows this full circle of creating tokens, receiving them, claiming them, using them as a gating for events. You can now create a ticket this way. You can create a whatever you want. By the way, Federico, this should technically just is the image so big that it here. Okay, there we are. Okay, so we are now officially updating as the token maintainer the token. The first ever token created by the Luxo community profile. That's a fresh one. So the other thing is, I'll actually need to get this into my phone to make it a bit more. No, actually we can do it from here. So yeah, you know what? I will try to import this into my phone because I've also the Universal Profile app with my phone. And I will try now if this will work here out of the box. Import. Import this profile into my phone. Yeah, let's import this profile. So I'm just importing this. So basically, there's now a second key being added with this device. And in a few seconds, I have control over this Luxor community profile from here and from here. Something you couldn't even do anywhere on Ethereum right now. I mean, not that easily. Anyway, I have now access to the Luxor community profile, so I can now easier send people things. But you can also send them here. So because we don't have our iPad situation, we can now pick our assets to send, and we should have 15 of those. We should have 15. Ah, there it is. We have 15. So who wants to tell me their profile name? Okay, like let's start here. Oh, well, like who you have one? I haven't.
No, asked me for content for my EMEI, which is a logo for me. It means this is like the unifier of the smartphone, and it would land on the blockchain, or I don't know where it would land. But
It would land on the blockchain, totally public.
the EMI of my phone.
No, I don't know, the EMI of the phone.
Like the universal
Ah.
identifier is something
Ah.
like to not share any like.
So the
Please check. If
I-
there's any,
I see.
would suggest to also offer other ways, because this is like a really number which should not be shared.
is it, so we're hashing this number, and we're using.
Tell it, because for me it's immediately a no-go
Mhm.
that this lands somewhere which I don't know. It's not open source, and
Mhm.
I feel this number should not be shared.
Yeah, that it's a good point. So the reason why we use the EMI, we hash it, is so that we are because we're registering an account in the transaction relay service, which gives you 20 million gas a month for free. And in order to make this in a way that there is no email necessary, we need some identifier that's unique, and that's the reason what it is.
I would suggest to offer other ways, because this is,
Okay.
if you say you're hashing it, then it would be good if it's like open source and you see what is happening.
Yeah, it's hashed. It's definitely hashed. We're not storing the actual EMI. But good point. We need to cover the 1%er as well. No, no, it's a good point. I mean, I agree. Okay, then you can create it with the browser extension. By the way, you have a browser extension. You can also create a profile in the browser extension if that makes you feel more comfortable on your computer. Then that's a way too.
It's BASTIN.
Bastine. Yeah.
Bastine, like Bastine without A.
Okay. I mean.
Bastine and
Yeah. Okay. We have too many people already on Luxor here. There's too many Basties already. No, is it Bastine?
Bastine and hashtag 19E5.
But it should find you.
19E5.
Ah, but it should find you anyway. That's actually. Are you sure it's Bastine? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you are right. Huh. Oh. No, but it says here anonymous profile EB25. How did you create it? Ah, okay.
When I created a profile and put in Bastine.
Ah, you created two.
But you created an anonymous profile anyway. And so I changed one of the profiles username.
Yeah, that should. So I mean, this is using our indexer, and there could be our indexer being just slow right now, and that is a little annoying. So we need to see if we find someone else. Ah, no, you created a mainnet. Yeah, no, this is mainnet. This is also mainnet.
Mine is DES.
DES.
Yeah, DES. And then hashtag 51C7.
Yeah, if the indexer, maybe the thing is, it might be with creating these tokens. Oh, that's annoying. That is annoying.
Use mine, Ebro.
Yeah, but like, but we want to give it also like the indexer who's indexing these names, because obviously search on a chain is not a thing. You need to have this indexed. But Ebro, you're not even there
But
either.
it's DES now.
Still searching for the previous one.
Oh, yeah, okay. At least Ebro gets one for now, right? If you give me your this is tricky. If you would give me your address, I can send it to you as well, even without the indexer. But that I don't know how that would easily work.
We have one from online too.
Hmm?
We have one from online too.
Okay, so let's see. DS, you said. I mean, that should be. So I'm not sure how fast the indexer. If Andreas is watching, he could probably tell us. DES, no, there's only DAS. DAS is good. Okay, anyone else has a name that I use about? Yeah, Nico. And just Nico? Yeah, that should be. I mean, let's see how many Nicos pop up. But the indexer seems to be super slow here right now. It seems to be really wrong. Oh. I think yeah. I was literally asking Andreas to.
Looks like that takes the.
From before.
Yeah. It might be also that Andreas is working on the query right now, specifically. Which one, Nick? Which Nico you are? That's you. Cool. So that the idea is like, when you have an iPad that can just do that by just scanning people and it has a nice queue, then it's a lot easier to do that than the manual way. Hence why we need the claim map. All right, so who else we have here? Kat, you want one?
Yeah, I definitely want one.
I mean, it's a process here. I can try to do it from two devices at the same time with the same account. Yeah, the indexer is super slow. Yeah, but how would I find the names? I would still need to do it. I mean, if you all send me your list of addresses, that would be the easy. But like the manual way works, except that it's there's something with the indexer right now. It's very slow. It doesn't really show.
There's also online. There's Pharaoh, like when you're PHAR.
PHA Pharaoh.
RA. Go back one. A O H hash D722.
Okay. Pharaoh's got lucky. He was. I mean, in the worst case, you send your address to someone, and then we will transfer them later. But the indexer, yes. So what is?
It's like Theo Bruni, so DEO
BRUNE.
With the T.
Theo Bruni. This you?
Yeah.
Theo Bruni. Good. Oh, wow. We need to. Okay, now you get one. We have only 4 left. It becomes scarce. I want one too. Now we can always mint more. This is a good thing. Okay, who else we don't? Who we have not yet? Yeah. Andre. Okay.
The E with the 3 and the S with the 5.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about so the reason or one of the cool things is about everybody have profile data that you can pick your own name, and because of the smart contract address, which is unique, we have the hashtag and the beginning of your smart contract address. So basically, even without a name system, everybody has a name. But there will be a name system actually coming, and once the name system happens, then you can have a unique name, and then that you will be the only Andreas or the only whatever. Our identifiable asset picture is not loading here. I think the indexer finally indexed things. So what was your name again?
Bastian, B-A-S,
Yeah.
T-I-N.
Yeah. Oh. Someone has skipped through the cracks of the
Matrix.
of the matrix. Okay, then let's move. You get one. Don't you worry. So who else we have? EX. So why do some people have one and some show up? You just created it, right?
No, we could go.
Okay. So there is definitely a recent index or thingy here, problem I see, yeah. What? DE, code, yeah. 0x19. Like this. Okay, there is an indexer with a problem with newly created profiles. If what's the easiest way to put addresses in shared a hackmd? What's the easiest way to have a collaborative document? A hackmd? Because that will be.
I mean, you could just do like an open Google.
I want to just create a hackmd. Get hackmd.
People who are not techie are not familiar with this.
It doesn't matter. It's
Maybe Slido. It's a live.io.
yeah, but then I need to log in. I mean, there was in the past we had like these free open source, just type in text.
Not anymore? Oh, that's great.
No, but I need to have an account, which I don't. You know what? No, it just doesn't work either. Okay, let's first search for everybody who we have. Who else was?
I have a new profile that I created now. Maybe you can try that. It's called Zalmoxis. Z-A-L. It's an ancient Balkan god, actually. Zachik god. Zalmoxis.
Like this.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, let's see.
And you just created this now?
Yeah, I created it.
And which one is it?
I have a red. The second one.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, there's some repetition. Oh, yeah.
This one is the second one for sure.
There's the three. Yeah, so this is also the whole point of like, why is there an identicon, right? Because the idea is because if anybody can just, create a name that they want to pick, plus they can obviously use the same profile picture, like how do we differentiate? How do we create uniqueness, right? And that's exactly why there's the hashtag smart contract address, which is unique, right? You can't manipulate that. And the identicon. And even if you get a smart contract address, it kind of starts with the same like someone else. If you want to impersonate someone, the chances that it will have a similar looking identicon is kind of 0. So that's the idea of how we create.
Fortunately, here there were a few red ones. Even on these profiles, there were a few red.
I mean, like the good thing is like humans are very good pattern recognition. So even small differences in patterns we notice. Like obviously you need to see it more than once, right? But once you do see it more than once, it's actually it works. So somehow you got one. That is really so. The relayer is definitely right now a little fucked. Not gonna lie. Indexer. Adam. Adam, the 670E, is that you? Ha! Even a nice picture. I mean, so this is the what we're experiencing here is in a nutshell what like social cultural tokens could look like. I mean, ideally the process is not as cumbersome as it is right now with sending it manually. But okay, but didn't you? Oh yeah. 2 Zelda.
No.
I mean, the indexer does need to speed up a little bit here. 2.0. Okay, I want one too, by the way.
And Thomas needs one.
This is a serious process here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's first give it to the people that like who else is here? DD5. Ah, Wex. Ah, you just created it now?
No, it's a while ago. I created mine.
Okay, but but you created yours.
This one was like the other one.
Ah. Okay, so what was it? Is it? No, our indexer is like a bit like slow here. Most of okay, who else we have here? Yeah, you like Basti and yeah, but this one, your one was not showing up, right? It was DES. That's not you. That's you. Okay, a long term cup holder. No, what cup? Coffee cup. What is it again? Cupco. Yeah. Ah, yeah, genau. Okay, who else we have?
Memo, hash 0f BF.
0f. Yeah, that might not be.
Is it Memo?
You know what? There is actually. Let's try something. We go here, and we go into the network activity, and then we have another profile being created just here. Okay.
It's a 0A4E.
Yeah, this is a little too complicated. Like who we were missing now? Like I don't even remember. Like you know what? Let me actually write this. Let me write this down somewhere. These names, so that this is probably easier.
Maybe you can send an email to a certain
We
email
were
address.
thinking that.
No, this is the old. Like no, I just write down the names. I will find them easier later. This is so. What we had like Bastien and DES, and what do you remember? What is your hashtag? Because DES is pretty short. That's hard.
The only one though, but it's hashtag 51C7.
Cool. And then we had. Did you create now one on the browser access? No. Yeah. AU. Yeah.
First is an A.
First is an A. Now this is an A. Ach, L.
Yes.
Oh, like one piece.
Yes.
Luffy. Okay. Let's see if Luffy is here. But I mean, obviously, no. Which of these are you?
Yeah, I think 6.5. That was the first two numbers.
No, that's not.
It's still in the process. Yeah, it's still
Okay, then you need to tell me this 6.5. Yeah.
something like that.
Okay, and was who we forgot? You're Momo.
Memo, hash 0f BF.
Yeah, and who we forgot?
Left foot
Yeah, I mean left foot. We find this is easy.
and feather.
Okay. Yeah.
And Fabian.
Yeah. This is easy. Who else we have here?
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, Johannes, what is Luxo? Hello, Luxo. And what's yours?
No, so good.
You look
Looks so good.
You look
Oh.
so good.
But is anyone here? Yeah, Patrick. What was yours again? 19. And anyone else we forgot here? No.
Yeah. CA.
Okay, she has already one, right? CA? TT.
No, that's two. Double.
Kato. No. Really this like this?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll find it. We'll find it in the indexers. Yeah, okay, then we will have distributed a lot of tokens. There's only 3 left, but we can mint more. So the cool thing is that, yeah, I think yeah, okay, now here it is. So this is our cool token. We can mint more. No, why can't I mint more?
Now you have to go in edit mode.
Ah, you might want to change that to make it actually. Yeah, I think we need to make that. This is we need to put it outside. But mint more. I could now mint more, but we only mint so much how we need. But then we have now the ultimate memorandum. And the cool thing is you can literally update things. We now already know all the famous participants that even then show up here in the picture. Yeah, so the whole idea about like the thing is that we can now create these more flexible assets, and down the road even creating tokens that you can't move. Like I said, like soulbound tokens are now easily possible. In the next iteration, we will have the smart contracts that you can do that. We will make tokens that you can restrict how many you can have per address. So you can say, okay, you can only ever hold 1 maximum per profile. So now it becomes a batch, right? Like a batch is something that you don't want to hoard. And what you do with that is when we do the non-transferable or just limit the addresses amount per address, we basically make it untradeable. Because you can't even put it in a DEX, because the DEX could only hold 1 either. So you can only trade 1 at a time, and you can't hoard them. And that's really what we need if we want to have cultural tokens, right? We want that they have a different purpose. That's the purpose of reputation rather than the purpose of money. And one other thing we will also do, that you can have tokens that you can non-transfer, but the token creator can take back. So now you can do memberships, right? Because a membership is obviously given by someone. Like either you pay or you're a DAO, because like obviously that they should be able to take it back, right? If you're not part of if you're not a member anymore, if you don't belong, whatever, there should be some DAO or person who can revoke it again. Or if you get the membership moderator, which is then in CommonGround, right? Which is here the big Luxo Discord, where you can actually make token gating, where you could say, okay, you could have here like a token gated group, right? And you can then take back a role, right? You can revoke the role. So yes, a token, and you can build all kinds of rules, but we will create these kind of basic tools so that it can be used in online communities, it can be used in real world communities. And we need to start playing with those cultural currencies for the reason of like seeing tokens less as this investment thing, but more as this earnable cultural piece. And when we then get the right, people in audiences, musicians, cultural events, now let's go back here. Then we really can create this infrastructure, like with infrastructure for culture, actually culture. And it creates a whole new kind of culture, because now you can do things that are provable, earnable through actions over time. Right? This is kind of like the big deal. Now you can show, oh, I did at this point, I got this because I did XYZ. I held it for so long. Through that, I got other things. And it kind of becomes this journey of your work and your contributions over time that then result in, you know, a certain status or a certain recognition. And I think the cool idea here is that we can literally incentivize good behavior. We can say, okay, you know, help here, get this. Rather than buying something that's the current incentive of the world, like work hard, get money, then you can buy other stuff. Now we can create systems where you maybe can't buy it. Maybe the only way to get to XYZ is through having certain tokens that only you get if you do certain path. So we can literally, it's almost like a Schnitzeljagd, or how you call it in English again, scavenger hunt. Like imagine it's like a real world scavenger hunt. And now we can create all these different rules of why we do it and create behavior, you know, in human society that like encourages positive behavior, where money is not even relevant, but also not even part of the whole thing. Like you can't buy yourself into certain ways now. Like there's certain ways that can only be earned, can only be through contributions. And the more we DAOify and decentralize this whole mechanisms, the more solid and stronger it gets, right? Now there's not even a person you can corrupt or sway. Now you literally need to, I don't know, do whatever, you know, the path takes. So call it the real world quests through tokenization. And in a way also the new branding and marketing, right? That's what I think is coming. It's like, this will be the new way of creating marketing or campaigns or a belonging, you know. Yeah.
It's a commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you invested enough with your participation, at some point, yeah, it becomes a thing. So does anybody feel they're missing their potential pour-up, that need to tell me their name that I'm missing in this list? What? Aren't you not in here? Luffy.
It's 6.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think 6.5 was probably, there's probably not so many 6.5 Luffys.
No, I think it's always the four digits of
The smart contract, the first one, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. Cool. Then everybody who was here and wanted to have a universal profile, which will now have a forever memorable thing. And very soon you won't need to enter a password. So hopefully creating a profile is even easier and even more fun, because it is a little bit of a, you know, this step of thinking, like up a password. And if you're not nerdy enough or he has a secure password, you're pretty out of luck anyway. So, cool. That's pretty much all I had to show, and it wasn't very long. And thank you for participating and listening and waiting for the manual send process to take place and watch it happen. Yeah. And my computer will turn off any moment, actually. But there is.
Can I do a point? Like
Mhm.
for anyone who maybe it's interesting to understand, like it's a little bit focused on the category, because right now, like category looks like.
Here, 1 second, if you want to catch this. This way, right? This way.
You can just hold it.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
So basically, right now, category, that is what we see there, like proof of attendance, is the category that we link to our token in this case. And right now, it's just a string. It's just like a basic metadata we can think, right? That lives on our standard LSP4. But actually, like if we do like a little step back, if we zoom out, and if we think also in the future, and also right now, actually, it's impossible. We can do some research using the indexer to scan the blockchain and get all the tokens that have that badge or that tags. That what it means. Let's say that I want to create a platform that collect and show every token that are games, for example, and actually it's possible with the grid, that it's a standard that we have implemented, and we have already some games on it. If I want to create one game that lives on my token, I can create a platform that scans the blockchain and collect every token that have that category. That's very important because I can like use this system with any category that I want. And we already support any category that you want to create. So not just ours, but anyone. So in this case, and if you think in this way, it's much easier in the future to create scalable business on some ideas or some topic, because you can literally scan the blockchain and in 1 second add everything that have something in common with something that you want. It can be a tag, it can be music. So you can create like Spotify on the Web3, for example, or any other platform that want to look to like zoom on some category and manage data in some way pretty fast. Yeah.
Super cool. And also too, just a reminder, in the future, we're looking at doing things like having a grid per token.
Yeah.
So that means that I can hear myself in this, and this is really challenging. It's like so much double feed. So that means that everyone who's here, this will enable the possibility of everyone who's here who's taking a photo, right? We can have like shared photo albums per event, right? So everyone who's here, if you took a photo of the event, something like this is possible in the future, like underneath the token as well, or any other aspects that are related to the event or the token as well, that make it much more social and just there's honestly so much more that we'll be able to do with it that we haven't even thought of yet.
The idea what we're seeing here. I mean, if we let's take I don't know, Kali Yuga, whatever profile.
Andreas says the index is overloaded.
The index is definitely overloaded, as we could tell. That's why this this needs to be more decentralized. Yeah. So okay, index are overloaded. Not a good idea. Kali, yeah, this is also specifically his profile that's currently not working. In this, yeah. So the idea of the grid is basically that you can have these grid boxes that can load all kind of content. Like this is actually a website. For example, this is a website here. This is another website. You can also just have images and videos. I think that's just an image. I don't know. So you can basically like build almost like your MySpace, GeoCities personal website clustered together based on other apps. And if these are Web3 apps and they're running on Luxor, even better, you can one-click connect to them and instantly like do stuff, through your profile. So you can build little dashboards, for example, a DAO voting dashboard, right? So you could have the connect here, and then I don't know what that specific app is. It's a fish holder app, but I could have something where I see the latest proposals. I vote directly, and I do everything in that interface that's underneath the profile. So it's actually a universal interface. And that grid under the hood is actually just a JSON document. So if you want to look at him here, if you want to look at his grid under the hood, and we look at our nice little tool called ERC725 Inspect, then under the hood, this is just a data key written in the smart contract. In this case, this data key, linking this blurb of bytes, which if you decode it is basically this structure, hash function, hash, and a link to IPFS in this case. And the actual grid is really just this. It's just a description of the boxes and their content, like iframe with some content loaded in. So any website can actually build a profile plus grid interface simply by reading from the smart contract. And they can then determine whatever height 1 and width 1 means and width 2 means, depending on whatever UI you want to design. In this case, we see he just linked a few things: the DAO Hub, the Luxor Seals Club, and it's very decentralized. Like the actual data is on chain, or in this case IPFS, wherever you want to store it, and it's all open source standardized. How the whole profile under the hood scaffolding works, and that kind of grid can also be put underneath a token. In this case, linked directly from the token contract. So now you can basically have what we saw before. You could have like our little token here, right? Could have its own app frame that is definitely added by the token maintainer. Like whoever created the token said, this is the grid, these are the apps that belong to it, these are the description, the pictures, whatever else. So this really like solves the trust problem that we have currently in Web3. When you're currently in Web3 looking for a token, the biggest trust that you have is, you go to coinmarketcap.com or CoinGecko. That's kind of like there. Hopefully you find the correct websites. Sometimes you actually don't. Sometimes you also find wrong text, all kind of stuff. And like then token projects always need to, sway them to update the content so that their community can't get scammed or whatever. And specifically for young projects, that's a problem because they don't have the leverage that others maybe have over time. And here is everything is decentralized. So everything comes literally from whoever deploys the smart contract. It creates a whole different thing. I mean, we could later put a grid. I mean, we haven't built this feature yet, but the standard's allowed to do it easily. Then we could have like, for example, photo album, shared photo album. Like Kat said, actually, there's a project called Forever Moments that does exactly work on that right now. That you can have a token-gated on-chain collection of pictures where you could say, only whoever holds this token can contribute pictures to that collection. And now you have an actual decentralized, I mean, everybody can see the pictures, but only certain people can contribute. Yeah, it's a whole new thing, a whole new world of possibilities that, and this is kind of like the UI perspective, right? And then there's the whole developer perspective, and there the sky is the limit, basically.
I have a question. It's a use case, and I'm curious on what type of token we would use and what workflow would be from the user perspective. So let's say there is a music label that does a release of a record, and then
you wanna catch
Cheers. So yeah, the question is related to a potential use case, and I was curious to know what type of token could be and how the workflow would be from the user perspective. So let's say there is a music label that does a release, and 10 records have an NFT linked to it. I'm curious if you would need to put in the sleeve of the record then a unique QR code to claim the mystery NFT that is linked to the record, or if there would be kind of a process where there is one QR code and then the mystery NFT is then randomly allocated when the user claims the
idea is you want to give NFTs based on randomness, or you want to give them on...
There are 10 records and there are 10 NFTs, but it would be nice if it's not like that one record number one has that NFT number one, but if it's randomly allocated.
So this is actually a funny one, right? Like, so in the old Ethereum world, in ERC725, ERC721, just roll it. In ERC721, right, the NFT IDs are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it counts up, right? In Luxo's LSP8, you can actually pick. So if I'm creating a token here, and I say I want to do a collectible, in this case, I guess you want to do a collectible, NFT collection or a single NFT. Yeah, the collectible should actually map to the NFT, not to the collection. I think collection is something else. Don't we have a collection as well? Anyway, so the collectible, you can actually pick what is the NFT format. So we have even standardized that you can in the smart contract determine what's the format. You can say it's a number, but you can also say it's a text. So now you can make the serial number of your thing the number, right? Then you don't have the problem anymore that people need to freak out. I want to have the 1 or the 2. Like, it doesn't matter, you know. Like, you just got the, I don't know, arbitrary text, or you just make it a smart contract address, or you make it even like bytes hex. So this flexibility in the serial number is also something that like you have with these new standards. You can basically, you know, you could say this is like the serial number of my NFT. If you really want to make this a kind of unique things, what you probably want to do is you want to make an NFT collection, and then whatever ID format you want to create. And when you make a collection, then the idea is that each NFT is its own item within the collection. So in this case, each record, but is it ownable by multiple people per record, or is only one record per person?
One record per person, I guess.
Oh. So if you do one record per person, then you could make a collection. So if there's only one record that can only one person own, then you would make a collection. If you actually have multiple records, what I would actually do is you make it a I would actually make it a entity, funny enough. So you basically just say, this token contract represents one record. I have 100 units, and I can give you 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 units. So there's a whole new way of how we can think about, like, you know, making these tokens. In this case, technically, it's kind of an ERC20, a non-divisible ERC20 that is represented like an NFT. Because if this is the same record and each one gets the same record, then they don't need to really have unique IDs either anyway, right? It's just you just can prove that you own one of the 10 records.
It would be 9 different NFTs. The record is always the same, so if it's 9 different NFTs.
Oh, so what you want to do then is what you want. Okay.
You have this degree of mystery of like, okay, what NFT am I gonna get? I'm gonna buy a record. It's always the same record in this series. You get one of these 9. NFTs.
So the idea is that the NFTs are different looking, like different pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you get the record plus a special.
Okay. So yeah, then what you want to do is you want to do an NFT LSP8 collection. So you can also do an NFT LSP8. That means the smart contract represents one type of NFT, like one record. Let's say it's a yellow record, and then you can have different ownable IDs. That's, for example, useful if you have, for example, a handbag, right? You have one type of like this white leather handbag, and then there is multiple ownable serial numbers because each bag is obviously a physical different item that can wear down differently. So you need a unique ID per item to later differentiate them and who owns which one. For what you want to do, if you really want like different kind of, if you want different kind of NFTs, then you want to do a collection. And if you do a collection, then this will actually look like burnt pigs, which I don't exactly know why it's shown. I'm not sure if it shows up here right now, but yeah. Okay, he probably has some burnt pigs here. A collection will then look like this. It can also be traded on Universal Page. Yeah, our indexer is completely overloaded as we see right now. This is always this is called the Vorführ effect in German. Every time you want to present something, something breaks. So for example, this is a collection, right? Like this is one smart contract, but it has ownable IDs, and these NFTs have their own metadata. That's what you probably would do for your thing, right? And then you have a collection, and then you give people, and the IDs are actually not really, again, you can pick random numbers, you can pick a random string.
But then from the start, a record number 2 with that identifier number 2 as the NFT number 2. It's not that...
You can pick, actually. When you are adding mint a new item, you can write in whatever number you want. It doesn't count up automatically. You literally can write any number, or if you select text, then you can write a different text for each of these items. And then each of these items, you can then edit separately the metadata. So, and then you have your NFT collection. How you hand it out, I mean, this depends then on whatever the process is. I mean, we're building this kind of like iPad app or phone app where you can just scan somebody's profile, and the moment he scans it, it's his. He gets this, it's sent. But there could be all kind of different ways. The moment you want to do an on-chain smart contract way, then obviously there's a chance that it gets hijacked by other people talking to the smart contract too. You can build some kind of server that sends it out based on, I don't know, whatever. You can wipe code some app that has a private key and can send out the tokens if some thing happens, some condition is fulfilled.
And another use case, and maybe a question for another type of token. Is it possible to upload also audio? So like tracks?
In fact, I mean, number one, you can always do whatever you want, but like Habibi, the latest meme coin, the latest meme coin on Luxor has a music track attached to it. So yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we have here the gold cat. Yeah, so we have clearly a big there's 4,000 people who have this Habibi now. Somebody just airdropped them to them, obviously. Yeah, I mean, you can actually add images, videos. You can even upload GLB files. So even 3D GLB files have a 3D viewer. So it's, I mean, this UI is pretty sophisticated to show a lot of variety of things. But again, it comes down to, you know, what's the purpose? And I think one thing is you give something, like you give someone a token, but the other thing is what happens after, right? What do they make out of it? What do they get for it? What's the point? Why do they want to have it, right? What's the meaning? And so far the meaning is, like what we figured out in the internet, the meaning is jokes. That's the meaning of tokens.
Do you have any proof of personal projects like Remo has for Ethereum?
Actually, we might integrate a human passport, kind of human score into universal everything. So you can basically just like put your human score on your profile. There's plenty of protocols that can be built. And so the thing is, if the smart developers come, because there's plenty of projects out there, you can attach anything to this, right? Like you can write anything into your profile. And as long as it makes sense, we could make that in our interface also visible if it gets popular and useful. Pretty much, there's also, I forgot the name, but this is this project that has to do with credentials that already is also Luxor compatible. I forgot the name. Something with credentials. Something with, I don't know. Yeah, this, I mean, pretty much anything already works that is existing. But we haven't integrated anything into the Universal Everything UI yet. We will add the human tech passport probably.
We're focused on the social identity, like the soft identity.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is also
that everything could be,
on the end, you follow us, right? It's already, I mean, sure, you could like follow a bunch of people, but you could then make metrics. Okay, how many followers have these followers? And sure, you could build some complex scripts, but it somewhat costs you money. And at some point, if these are dead profiles, they can be figured out pretty quickly.
What stops you from just making like 1 million profiles and scaling the blockchain?
You could, as equally as you could make 1 million wallets and spam blockchains. That's how 90% of the EVM blockchains actually do their thing. They create a bunch of random addresses and send random addresses, random tokens. So then they look busy while they're actually dead.
On consumer would need to spend some gas on transactions.
Yeah, you have to spend some gas too. So if you want to use our relay service, no, sorry, we won't do that. That's why you have only 20 million gas per user, so that's pretty quickly empty if you want to use that. No, you have to pay for transaction fees. I mean, right now it's cheap, so you could do it. But again, it's very easy to create these universal profiles. I mean, it's just deploying smart contracts. It's harder to manage them in such a complexity. And on the end, they have no history, right? If they do nothing, they can be easily discarded as irrelevant. Like, this is the beautiful thing. Is like transaction history is something you can't really fake, right? I mean, we had the same with Facebook profiles, right? Like, there's a lot of Facebook profiles, and you could easily figure it out by just scrolling halfway down the page, and then you realize there was literally nothing that happened, ever. But again, protocols like, human passport and other kind of, human verification systems, or can help make this more. Then you can basically airdrop them to only humans. I mean, if you integrate human passport, then you could say, I only want to send this to a human with a score over 20. And then you could. Yeah.
About the roadmap we released 2 days ago, there was a point, I think it was called universal profiles for companies.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference to like a regular universal profile?
Actually, none. The difference is that we basically will be, so we're not creating it. It's not another profile. It's just that we will create tools to manage a profile as a company better. I mean, obviously the sky's the limit, building, role-based models. But think of the following: you're a company or brand, right? And you want to create an on-chain account. What's the biggest problem? Right? Today in Web3, what's the biggest problem? The biggest problem is which employee gets to have that private key that is mostly would be your account today, right? And because they don't even understand the question, they just hire that marketing agency. Then the marketing agency creates an NFT for them. Then they have a little bit of a PR. And then once the marketing agency goes, the address that actually created the NFT also goes away, right? So now, half year down the road, can you prove that this is the real thing? You have not created it from any identity really anyway, right? You created it from some address. And the moment you be talking about here actually long-lasting identities, right? Let's say Vogue Italy, for example, right? Ideally, they want to own that profile for the foreseeable future. They want to create anything they ever create from here. They want to have, the grid. They want to have a relationship to this account, and that's a tricky one. So how do you solve that, right? You can either have an employee create it, and then he technically has the first private key, which is with universal profile actually not such a big deal because you can authorize other people and throw them out and blah, blah, blah. But there's one thing that matters, and that's the initial deployer. The initial private key does matter because that one is necessary to have your profile on other chains at the same address. So we call that the cross-chain deployer key, right? This one you need to keep. By the way, guys, if you want to take this seat here and have a seat. Yeah, anyway, you need the initial controller piece. So what we are building is basically a tool where, as a company, you can create a profile with a ledger, for example, or you can just create it with a backup file. So the initial controller key will be immediately a file that's encrypted and secured. Companies know how to put a file safe somewhere, right? And keep a password safe, I hope, at least. And this way they know that the initial controller key, the one they need for cross-chain deployment down the road, is going to be safe. And from there on, they can always authorize other employees with admin rights and lower rights and whatever, so they can properly long-term manage that profile, and they don't need to fear that they have no control over the identity. And then obviously over time, people can build the most complex role-based systems on top of this stuff. Like,
And what do you solve with the point, I think it was app universal profiles? For
so yeah, app universal, this is good questions. The app universal profile is basically the idea that every application, not only in Luxo, but actually down the road, every application should have its own universal profile. And why is that? This is because in the future, you want that applications are able to authenticate themselves towards you, not only the other way around. For example, if especially in a web where anybody can create apps, right, and where apps are easier to discover because of profiles now, you know, and you come across an app and you don't know, can I trust this app or not? If the app has a profile, the app can actually sign a message proving that I control this profile, so I'm the app from this profile. Now you could look at followers, you could look at like ratings, you could look like some kind of reputation protocol that's built on top of this stuff. So now you can really like make apps kind of trustable. And right now the only trust that we have in apps is like, oh, it's on HTTPS, and yeah, the domain looks correct. That's the trust level we are at right now in the internet, right? And
what's needed from the point where apps are right now to the point you want to bring them for that?
In the first step, we just basically will come up with a new like JSON document standard that will describe additional information for apps, like source code and maybe smart contract verification. We just need to have the time to really do that. And then inside the grid here, when you load an app, you will have like additional information on the top, like it will have the name, maybe even later the followers. And then the more people build protocols, the more we can integrate into these boxes to showcase that information. There's a lot. This goes endless. You know what can be done. Yeah.
The universal profile is for an app or for a company.
For anyone, for anything, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But as soon as these updates get released, then you will be able to decide what the universal profile is from the beginning. Or
you can always change it, right? You can like take a profile that turns into a DAO, and you can turn it back into a single profile. You can have a profile that you can run by multiple people. And you can then, if they're all leaving and you're the only one left, and then it can be your personal profile again. Because that's the thing, it's so flexible. And all of these things that I was describing, they're already possible. All we need to do is build that interfaces for it, or come up with, and even the standards. I mean, like creating the standards that I was describing, it's not that we are inventing some kind of high tech. All we just do is define some JSON documents content, and then just show it in that UI. That's pretty much all we do.
This is actually a really big deal because
it just takes time to do it right. This
is like for the first time that we're able to go from single person to brand to company to enterprise, and all in one place. So keeping the economics of it all in one place. Yeah. So you're not losing value as you're growing, and it's not going. It's just easier to maintain. And even from that, we've never seen what that looks like before, right? So keeping that value all in one place is going to be something that we don't even know what we don't even know. And I think will be a big reason why creators will come to this, and even influencers, because it's ultimately like, I don't want to say money, but it's like money you're saving or money you're keeping, you know, that's not going away to fees. That's not going away to losing people or processes or time and resources to other platforms and having to switch out when other people come to. So it's a really big deal. Okay. Yeah. And you can track that all the way through then.
Yeah. So
gentle.
I mean, just to say, on the end, this is universal interface, and we could put anything in there we want over time. And the idea is actually, the more smart people start to build on top of this, the more they come up with really good ways, either protocols or things to build on top of this, the more we can just add it to our UI as well. And again, because this is a universal profile, anybody can build a UI. Anybody can build a UI that looks like this. I mean, it takes a bit more time to make something that looks that complex or that design and so on. But anybody can make different windows into the same thing. That's the difference to the old web. Now you have a universal account that they can have different front ends. And the account it's not like creating different isolated platforms where each platform has its own account system and everything. Now we have just one account system. Or we can build this like different like views into it. And hopefully our universal everything becomes the most important and most well-designed view, but anybody can help contribute. I mean, you already can build mini apps for the grid and make like cool stuff as long as you get people to use it. That's the thing, yeah.
Given that anyone can create everything.
Okay, you wanna? Oh, okay, can you? Yeah.
Thank you. So, given that anyone can create anything, upload images, upload audio, what about the moderation and the copywriting?
Yeah. Okay. So there's two answers to this. I mean, if it goes by me, I would say people have to figure this out by themselves, right? And that's exactly also the idea of decentralization. Decentralization is that the system itself is open, and then whatever layers we want for filtering and moderation, whatever, we can build on top of this. And then our interface could adopt such systems. I mean, this is still small with 34,000 profiles. It's obviously, I mean, there's some porn profiles, you can find them, but you can also find porn profiles on Twitter and Facebook. I mean, you just need to type the right word. It's not very hard. I mean, once it becomes a problem, I mean, we probably need to do some filtering in our UI. I personally would like to not be even able to, honestly, because I would rather have the world figuring out better ways of filtering and serving and creating algorithms for content that are decentralized, where I, as a user, can pick what algorithm or what filter system I want to use, rather than there's one company that determines it. And in this case, on the blockchain level, we don't determine nothing. It's an open network. We don't even run the network, so anybody can deploy whatever the heck they want. And then on interface level, like this, obviously we can do some filtering if we wanted to. And down the road, hopefully we find ways to decentralize it even further so that even we don't have control. And then there's other ways that can be plugged in, and we can give people choices to filter things based on whatever interests or whatever AIs they can pick. I mean, honestly, ideally, I could just describe my AI, hey, could we today show me nice things and not just war stuff? Or could you show me intelligent things? Or could you show me curious things? And if that could change. But right now, the way algorithms work is you follow a bunch of accounts, and then forever you're stuck in that thing. Until you unfollow thousands of people, maybe then it will change, So it's a very solid, rigid structure. And then you like things because you want to support it, but that means it's involved that content, And then suddenly you're like in a deep hole of like tragic world events. Yeah, we need different ways for that, right?
And I mean, at the end, the back end is decentralized, so there's no natural ownership. But like the regulation would make all the responsibilities and the connectivity to the front end, to the interface.
Yeah, I mean, it will be the moment, but the tension only comes when you're big enough. And by then, again, we could. I mean, in this case, if you read from the indexer right now is like a backend, right? We can do some filtering and whatever not. The more decentralized the indexer becomes, the less powers we have too. If you read directly from the blockchain, we're totally powerless. It's just slower. So, and this is like a long-term work to make sure we kind of build this out to be scalable but decentralized and so on and so on. Okay, last question, then I guess we can.
In terms of scalability, let's assume the whole world uses Blanco.
So what do you have in petto, or what do you have on the horizon to
Hmm.
scale to billions of accounts and
Mm.
billions of transactions?
I mean, the network underneath, it's like Ethereum, right? 12 seconds block time. In our case, we have like 40 million gas limit. That actually is already 3-4 million transactions a day. It depends how complex, maybe like 1 million to 2. That's a lot, right? It really depends on what you want to do on the main network, right? If it's about profile updates and things that are of high value, like reputational high value, that would really deal with a lot of users already, like lots of users. When then there's use cases that need more scalability, you can have L2s, where you have like a side chain, app chains that are specific to like some kind of subset of a use case. I mean, Luxo is next to Ethereum, the only network that has all the capabilities of Ethereum for L2s, right? We have the blob space, we have the Pectra hard fork, we have all of it. So L2s will happen on Luxo for sure. But then also there's the roadmap, like in general for Ethereum, and there's the roadmap in general of everybody in blockchain who wants to solve that problem. So luckily, it's not on to me to solve everything. I will focus on what I can solve and what I understand. So yeah, it's a problem that anybody wants to solve, and once they're solving it, we're getting it for free in this case, because the network is Ethereum. So, but I mean, that's a how do you say it? Let's cross that bridge when we get there. Yeah, cool. Thank you for coming. And thanks for tuning in, whoever, the Omnis internet people. Yeah, cool. That was our first meetup, and we distributed some NFTs. Pretty nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're all a part of history now.